loud. Okay. Shut up, everybody. So Trump's week was about as good as a Democrat's week was bad. First, you have the State of the Union. Dare I say it? Pretty good. And I hate State of the Unions more than I hate children. But it was a solid positive assessment of the world. Strong economy, jobs, foreign policy. Plus, it had something for everyone. On one side, there was more cash for defense. On the other, paid family leave. On one side, a defense of the unborn. On the other, second chances for the incarcerated. So every gift to the right had something for the left. It was more balanced than me when I'm on my meds. And that must have really confused some people. Enough to forget how to clap. Seriously, what was Pelosi thinking?
This Dr. Seuss really has something here. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. Oh, and that's brilliant. Good. Oh, shoot, it's time to clap. Oh, I forgot how to clap.
Somebody needs new software. The best part, Trump attacking a disease that's making a comeback among doe-eyed Dems. I wonder if he's alarmed by new calls to adopt socialism in our country.
We are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free. Tonight, we renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
That stings. You know, it hurts some feelings. Like this guy. I wonder what he was thinking.
Turkey salad. There's a good sandwich. Chicken salad, overrated. Why don't they make a salad that's a sandwich instead of a sandwich that's a salad? That should be in my new campaign. Salads, they can be sandwiches.
So true. But there was a softer side to Trump. AIDS research, experimental drug legislation, treatments for sick kids. If he got any nicer, we'd have to revoke his Republican status. But it wasn't like the crowd was having it. Nope. For the most part, Trump couldn't crack a smile from this fighting force of dental hygienists. I know. They were wearing white as a symbol of solidarity about the women's right to vote, which I can safely say I am for, okay? For now. But every time I looked at them, I felt like I was about to get my teeth cleaned. Thankfully, I already had them cleaned. Here's tape. Painful. Wrong tape. Here's tape of my last dental visit. I hope that's not my brush. One more. That's Dr. Steve, very thorough for an otter. So Trump offered something for everyone. He went after Russia, China. He announced another meeting with North Korea. So, did the media like it? Surprise? No.
Everything else he said in this speech will be overshadowed by the fact that he said there cannot be investigations.
That the President of the United States at this moment in the world did not mention climate change in even a sentence is just, frankly, a disgrace.
What he represented tonight is someone with absolutely no attachment to anything he says.
The dangers of the brown menace, as I call his depiction.
It was so grandiose and over the top. It was brown scare.
I saw this as a psychotically incoherent speech with cookies and dog poop.
Cookies and dog poop. I know what Ben & Jerry's is making next year. Anyway, so what's with all the bile? It's the business plan. For them to succeed, Trump has to fail. And there was just too much compromise to make the conflict stick. which doesn't help the media, which can only profit from anger toward Trump. It's the most obvious explanation for the current state of affairs. Add the media to every pot, and the meal stinks, because conflict and profit are joined at the hip. The media business model to be an eternal stirrer of kids in the audience. They're like weird volunteer firemen who start fires so they can put them out. The media creates unrest so they can write about it later. And the angrier we feel toward our fellow Americans, the better the bottom line is for CNN and MSNBC. And then, get this, add one more problem. It's the Dems, not Trump, who are truly effing up. That's one upside for everyone having a bad week. The Dems have had it worse. Between Liz Warren and the entire Virginia Democratic Party, I'd say the only people who had it worse was anyone who ate Dana Perino's queso. Yeah. So while Trump's been a 2-year target of pseudo-scandal dodgeball, the Dems are soaking in the real stuff. No wonder Adam Schiff is running down the street in his underwear screaming tax returns. It's a deflection. The party's in trouble. Mueller's giving them zilch. Trump's doing fine. So they have no choice but to bang pots and pans all around the house like a 10-year-old high on Pop Rocks and hope that maybe the media pays attention, which they will. Here's your week if you're a Democrat. You began with late-term abortion, then right into blackface, followed by sexual assault accusations, then more blackface, then more assault allegations. Could this get any worse? If Virginia's Democratic Party takes credit for Dana's queso, then yes. But you know what? They wouldn't even do that. Let's welcome tonight's guest. A hummingbird is your helicopter. All right. Apparently they didn't try the queso, Dana. The 5 co-host and anchor of the Daily Briefing, you know her, Dana Perino. Well, he's so sharp he can slice a melon with his thoughts. The great TV writer and producer Rob Long. Her favorite character in Titanic was the iceberg. Host of the Tyrus and Timpf podcast, Katherine Timpf. And when he trips, people yell timber. Former WWE superstar, my massive sidekick and host of Un-PC on Fox Nation, Tyrus. All right. Dana, I kid you about the queso. It's provided me with so much information.
I'm glad to have provided you with some material this week. You were a little light on things.
Yes. So, what did you make of this week so far? So many developments. What's your take? Well,
it feels like it's been 4 weeks.
Right.
Because the queso was actually just like 5 days ago.
That's true.
And so it feels like it was a lot. State of the Union, I would say, there were no hecklers. Right. Okay. There was these grace moments where you had a spontaneous happy birthday for an 81-year-old who was in one of the guests of the president. You had some beautiful grace notes. I did think that the most historic point, though, was that the president of the United States, for the first time in our country's history, had to be on the floor of the United States Congress to declare that the United States will never be a socialist nation. And the thing about that is that he wasn't just saying, okay, I'm midway through my term and I got 2 more years left. He's like, okay, this is a choice between what I'm proposing, which is capitalism, freedom, all this good stuff, and socialism. That was a very interesting way to frame it.
Yeah, it's very scary, Rob, when you think about it. And I just want to say I rest my queso. Wow. Rob, that probably wasn't worth interjecting into that.
So jealous, so jealous.
I know, yeah.
It's like, what were you during the Super Bowl? What were you doing? Just sitting there eating Pringles? You had queso and guests and friends. You were sitting there in your underwear eating Pringles, saying,
what are you going to wear when you eat Pringles?
Well, kind of a sheet, so you can kind of like scoop up the crumbs. And,
Exactly. Rob, what did you make of the week? Take your pick of any issue.
The State of the Union, I thought, was like the heartbreaking thing about State of the Union was that it was really good, and you just think to yourself, okay, so you can, to Trump, you can do it.
Yes.
You can do this if you want to. You can actually give a speech that's kind of sweet and sentimental and stuff, and still a little bit fiery and patriotic.
Yeah.
You could actually be like a really cool, chill, together, emotionally stable person. So let's just do more of that, right? Because the brilliant thing when he said this country will not be a socialist country is that you could hear the Democrats in the audience saying, the hell it will. Like, he's got them so wired. And like they arrive to that thing. You ever make a call to like the cable company or the cell phone company and you're like, you're pre-irritated?
Yes.
Like you're just so mad and you're calling and you're like, you just know that you're going to yell at, and then the person on the other line is like super reasonable and they solve your problem in like 2 minutes.
Yes.
But you're still really mad.
Yes.
That was the Democratic caucus in that room that night.
The villain wasn't what he cracked up to be.
I'm so mad.
Yeah, and they just had to look there and frown. Kat, is it possible for compromise if it doesn't serve the interests of the media?
No, I don't think compromise is going to happen.
No.
No. There are things that people should have been delighted about. For example, sitting there, we had Matthew Charles, we had Alice Marie Johnson, who are free now because of Trump.
Right. Yeah.
And only because of Trump.
Yeah.
Because I read about it, and that is how pardons work.
Yes.
Yeah. So, special report. Again, I bring the facts. It's wonderful. There's so many people in prison who shouldn't be there, or they're there for too long, and there's 2 of them that are free now. Everyone should have been saying how amazing that was. There's a lot of things. Low unemployment. Could have clapped for that. But they were just so mad just because they just don't want him to do anything right. And if there's that kind of environment, I don't see how compromise would be possible.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What about you, Tyrus?
You know what? I enjoyed, my favorite part was when Buzz Aldrin was on there.
Yes.
And there was a USA chant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. And the whole room was chanting USA.
Yeah.
For like 6 seconds, we were a united country.
Yes.
I'm glad.
Everyone was USA. It wasn't like half the room going USA, not on my watch. Like it was, everybody was involved. So at that moment, I was like, wow, we can be unified.
That's such a low bar, though. Like, oh, I'm glad our country likes our country.
Did I interrupt you? Yeah. Well, what world have you been living in? Because our country dislikes our country immensely. So the fact that they were able to come together on, kids, how many consonants? 2 and a vowel. 3 things they could agree on.
Yeah.
Some letters. And we already established that those were letters. That was it. That's all we could agree on.
And a happy birthday. Remember? Happy birthday to the whole
And the other part, if I could get there, Greg and Kat, damn. It's so bad between the sides. This was my point before I was interrupted. The response from the Democrats was pre-recorded.
Yes, it was.
Which means even a response to a speech, they've already made up their mind.
Right.
Hell no. So they pre-recorded it so they could all go to Chili's, enjoy queso, and talk about how bad the country is. Like, that's how bad it is. So, yeah, I know it was just USA, but that was probably the last time, or the first time in a long time, that we've seen both sides do something unifying.
It's a good point. You know, I think it was pre-written, and she didn't even watch the speech. Do you know that? She didn't watch the speech.
Oh, she has to.
Yeah.
If you've already pre-recorded it, then you can go to the bar.
Yeah, that is true.
And
Why did I think of that? What am I doing here? All right, coming up, a new art exhibit features an Ivanka lookalike vacuuming crumbs. And no, I just didn't throw a bunch of words together just now. That's really a thing. It's art that truly sucks. It features Ivanka and a vacuum, hence the sucking. Behold this performance art piece called Ivanka Vacuuming at a gallery in Washington, where a woman who looks, quote, strikingly like Ivanka Trump enters a carpeted room and starts vacuuming, while patrons throw crumbs on the floor for her to vacuum up. That's pretty humiliating. But isn't that the point? The artist says, quote, here's what's complicated. We enjoy throwing the crumbs for Ivanka to vacuum. That is the icky truth at the center of the work. It's funny, it's pleasurable, it makes us feel powerful, and we want to do it more. How edgy, how dangerous, how lame. Look, I'm not trying to censor art or anything, but art is about taking risks, and that's about as risky as peanut butter. All this bozo did was match the media's desires, pure cowardice. And how is this not misogynistic? Imagine putting Hillary or Michelle Obama in her place. Anyway, I've seen better performance art here. And here I thought that only happened to me. Rob, you are in the entertainment field. Don't you think that performance art gets a free ride because there's no standards?
Yeah, it's just whatever, right? It's like you could just kind of see like this. Oh man, I got this grant to do this thing. Ivanka vacuuming.
Yes.
And then all people, yeah, that's great. Just do that. Just do that.
Trump plus X.
Yeah. She does. She's going to polish some silver.
Yes.
Perfect. I get it. It's very complicated. But you mentioned that like anybody else, like imagine Chelsea Clinton, right?
Oh,
They're actually very similar.
Right.
Both have, parents with complicated marriages.
Mm-hmm.
Both have parents who got super rich in like a lot of shady different kind of ways.
Yeah.
Both have dads who've struggled with weight.
Yeah.
They could have picked her, right? That would have actually made people who watch that very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This made them feel super smug and like proud of themselves. Like, what kind of art is that?
You know what the thing is? It could have been that Ivanka's just really good at vacuuming and Chelsea isn't. Because Kat, I don't know anything that Chelsea's good at.
I know. I don't either.
Did this disturb you as a woman?
I was so jealous.
Why?
Ivanka has it made. First of all, she is so rich and so successful that I'm certain she never has to actually vacuum ever. She has people to vacuum for her. Second of all, she's apparently also so famous that people want to watch a lookalike of her vacuuming.
Yes.
If there were an exhibit of Kat Timpf lookalike does the dishes, I'd let people throw food at that puppy all day long. I'd be so happy. Which, I do have one question.
What?
Where are the crumbs coming from? And isn't that wasting food?
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, this is a social justice nightmare.
You know what? I think it's coming from the beards of the left-wing men.
Oh, the hipsters.
Tyrus, that wasn't directed at you.
No, I ain't no left-wing man.
Yeah, I know. Does this bother you, or do you care?
About a rich white woman vacuuming? Not really. I try to... Like, when I read this story, I was like, is it because we got kids in the audience tonight? We're just going to play it safe, but then that creepy-ass... That creepy video you showed of the dog peeing. Sorry, kids. So... Guess it really doesn't matter. Look, it's funny how you word things. If this would have been like women are so powerful that they can be a CEO of a business and then come home and clean up after lazy men, we'd all be applauding this as brilliant.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, wow, that's so true. Like a woman can be a CEO during the day and then come home and have to clean up after a lazy-ass husband who's sitting on his chair playing Xbox and didn't see the trash overflowing or the stuff on the floor or whatever. And everyone would be like, wow, that's power. Like, throw a baby at her and she catches it while she vacuums. Wow, women can do it all. Like, this is amazing, And it'd be on the phone time and sell off their ranch. But no, instead, they wanted easy money. And they just put that Trump on the end of it because everyone's going to come see. And you could throw breadcrumbs at Trump. And it really was a really lazy-ass piece of artwork. Hey, kids. This is why you do that report ahead of time. Like when the teacher says you got 2 weeks to do the assignment, don't do it the night before, because it'll look like that.
Dana, demeaning? Was this demeaning?
Well, of course, and the hypocrisy is rich, to say the least. But this is also very funny to me. This is revealed on the same week that Ivanka Trump announces a big new global initiative to help women all over the world become entrepreneurs with better skills and training so that they can help take care of themselves and be better providers for their own families, because we all know that that's what women around the world actually need. And so it's a strange juxtaposition, right? They would never have done this to Chelsea Clinton.
Yeah.
But they will do it to her, even if they had the same programs.
Yeah, it's a great point. The performance artist has not done like 1/10 of 1% of what she's trying to do for women. She's doing more for women than the performance artist would ever do for women. Plus, performance art is such a scam. Anybody can do this. You could actually walk up and throw, spaghetti on somebody and go, that's performance art.
Officer.
What?
Officer.
Officer? Yes. I'm in the park walking a dog at 1 a.m. and I don't really have a dog. Officer, it's performance art. Not sure what that means. Up next. Is Denver about to legalize shrooms? I don't know, but if they do, I got a tourism ad to sell them. Will tourism boom if they legalize the shroom? Voters in Denver, they have them there, Dana, will soon decide whether magic mushrooms should be decriminalized. Enough people signed the petition to put the proposal on the ballot, which goes up for a vote in May. Now, recreational pot has been legal in Colorado since 2012, but Denver could become the first city in the U.S. to decriminalize a hallucinogenic drug. And if it does, wait till you see the ads from the tourism board.
There's never been a better time to visit Denver. Home of the Broncos, Coors Light, Mile High. I'm a little baby. Skiing, Avalanche. Rocky Mountain. Skiing. Denver. Take a trip.
That's the best. Kat, you're like me. You think that all these things have medicinal properties, and this is a good sign? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decriminalize it, 1,000%. Even if it didn't have any medical value, even if it was just so people like wanted to see, you know, dragons, I think that's fine. I think that's fine too. It's not the choice that I would personally make, but in this country, it's supposed to be a free one, and we should stop locking people up for what they choose to put inside their own bodies. That's number one. Number two is, this actually does have legitimate medical purposes. The FDA actually found that it can be a breakthrough therapy for depression. You know what sucks, Greg?
What?
Depression.
Yes, it does. I don't know why I said what.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why are we gonna not take advantage of something like this just because it has a stigma around it?
Yeah.
I think that they should definitely decriminalize it, and I think everyone should decriminalize all the things except for like murder.
Oh, good. I'm glad you established.
I do draw the line somewhere, Greg.
That's right. Yeah, it's a chalk outline apparently.
Yeah.
Tyrus, thank you very much. They laughed. Tyrus, the problem with illegal drugs is you can't get a standard dosage, so people end up ODing. But if you legalize something, then you have a dosage that you can control. That's the way I look at it.
So I'm still tripping off from the video. So it took me back some places. I agree with Kat, even with the murder thing. I'm with you.
Anti-murder.
I agree. Also, when you take the element of crime out. Now, many moons ago, children, in another lifetime, we'll call this guy George, okay? George was in college with some of his friends on the weekend, and one of his buddies came in from Wisconsin, weird guy, and he might have brought a bag of things that resembled what we're talking about today.
Right.
Shrooms or mushrooms. I think we call it shrooms in the street, correct? And they might have tried said shrooms, this George character, whoever he is, and it takes you there. And at one point, George couldn't stop laughing to the point where he thought maybe he had to go to the hospital because he was laughing at everything. But there was an old river pitcher in the middle of the living room. And to get to one side of the living room to the other, George said friends took their shoes off and rolled their pants up so they could cross the living room and not get their feet wet. George had new Jordans he had just got from home, and there was no way in hell he was getting them wet. So, and after that, and a headache later, we realized, you know what? This room thing really isn't for George. So, I get it. Now, maybe if we would have went to a Walgreens and got a proper prescription, I wouldn't have thought my house was flooded.
You mean George? You mean George?
George, yeah, George.
Dana, this is Colorado.
To ask about
it's
this.
don't pretend.
No.
Colorado.
Pretend what?
We know.
Oh, no.
Wyoming's beautiful neighbor, Colorado.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my family all lives in Denver.
Yeah.
Other family and friends all around Colorado. They think it's been terrible.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, they're not happy. And look, and I know all the hate comes at you if you say that. I'm for states' rights, and I get that. And I know sometimes I have that saying, you have to be for what's going to happen. These legalizations are going to happen. So my request is just that people be mindful, keep children safe, and do what the police say, like don't drink and drive, don't do all that stuff,
Right.
and then let's just see how it goes. I am very encouraged and excited about the medicinal properties that it has, and if you can use it to help treat people, especially our warriors that come back with PTSD, then absolutely we should do that.
Very good, very good. Rob, you're kind of the expert on this, I would say.
By the way, Dana is so high right now. It's insane. No. Yeah, I'm an activist in the, sort of in this community. I have to say that they're one of the reasons why these things should be legalized, decriminalized. They're not addictive. There's no research says they're addictive at all. They're incredibly helpful for people, PTSD victims, assault victims, psychoactive and psychedelic drugs. So psilocybin, MDMA, even LSD. You know, LSD. The founder of AA went to Canada in the early 50s for LSD treatment. And that was one of the reasons why there's a spiritual element to AA, because he had a spiritual experience. This is sort of serious stuff, and the reason we don't have them now is because of like incredibly crackpot bureaucrats who want to control everything you do, and a federal government that can't let something go. And they did it in the 70s, they did it in the 80s, and it's time now for us to sort of like, you know, enter the new century and treat it, I think, treat it with great respect, and you got to treat it with, like, these are serious medicines, but they can absolutely transform people's lives for the good.
All right, we get it. We get it.
You hear that, George?
You're a dealer.
You don't do that with your friends on a Wednesday when you're bored, George, wherever you are.
First one's free.
First one's free. First one's free. They got to lose the magic, so it's not a novelty. Just call it something else. Maybe you can't go, I'll have the magic mushrooms, please. It's like, it's just not right. All right.
DMs are open, by the way.
Yes.
DMs are open. First one's free.
Up next, say goodbye to traveling to Mars or getting a new cell phone. The Times wants to abolish billionaires. Is it suddenly unhealthy to be super wealthy? The New York Times ran this headline this week, Abolish Billionaires. Why? Because they're not pledging to give most of their money away. You've got 7 billion people in the world. 2,200 of them, 2,200 are billionaires. 500 of them are Americans. Why? Because our system is the best. It encourages innovation. Did someone from a socialist country invent the home computer? Your smartphone? No, socialists invent this. Meanwhile, billionaires, they create jobs, they move the stock market, they boost the economy, and even more, if you ban billionaires, who's going to fight the media? Jeff Bezos said it himself, if I can't stand up to him, who can? Peter Thiel took down Gawker. Trump nailed the Daily Telegraph for smearing his wife. Now Bezos is facing off with the National Enquirer after he claims they tried to extort him over some nude selfies. What do they all have in common? They can stand up to the media because they got enough FU money to do so. Which is why we need billionaires, to protect your right to send nude selfies. For reaction, we turn to a leading socialist for a response. Bernie's looking younger. Hey, Tyrus, take your pick. You want to talk about Bezos, or do you want to talk about banning billionaires?
Gee, I don't know, kids. Bezos or billionaires? Your parents are nodding. Billionaires for 500, please.
Yes.
I mean, I guess if we all get a check, like, because where's that money going to go when you tear down the billionaires? Is it going to spread it out?
Yeah.
Is everyone get a check? So
the people who are unwilling to work, as they say. Can't work or unwilling to work, right?
I mean, I'm just a scotch short of a billionaire myself. I'm just short, I don't know, give or take a billion. So I think this is ridiculous. And where are we going with this? So if you're successful, are we back in medieval times where, you know, and then the billionaires come out and say, let them eat cake. We'll pay for it. You know, I mean, where do we go from this? Like, is being successful now the new villain?
Yes.
I mean, I just don't get the purpose of the paper, because you're going to say get rid of billionaires. Then what's next? Well, millionaires are kind of smug too.
You can never find enough rich
Then you
people.
got to deal with that thousandaire, that guy.
Yes.
Then there's that hundredaire, that arrogant guy with his head in the clouds. F him.
Yes. Rob, Tyrus is right. We used to admire the American dream. Now we see it as something negative.
It's even weirder from the New York Times. I mean, the New York Times was bailed out a few years ago.
By a billionaire.
By a Mexican billionaire named Carlos Slim.
Right.
Who bailed them out. He invested a lot of money in them, and he let them expand. New York Times, by the way, is doing really, really well, but it had an influx of capital from Carlos Slim, a billionaire. You could just hear the New York Times people getting the call from Carlos Slim saying, oh, no, we didn't mean you. We like your billionaire.
We like a certain kind of billionaire.
Yeah, we like that billion. We don't like other billions. Yeah, exactly. So, look, the point about it's like economics 101. Just because someone has $1 billion doesn't mean they took it from somebody. They didn't take it from you.
Yeah.
They actually created something that expanded the pie. I mean, the Dow closed at what, 25,000 today at some point like that this week? That's about a 100,000x return since 1903. I mean, the economy gets bigger with people as they get richer. It's not a zero sum. And I feel like we have to keep saying that over and over again in this country, which is worrisome.
That's the thing, Dana, that this argument sells because people don't read about the past.
It's as old as time itself.
That is true. 4,000 years.
I call it SBO, selective billionaire outrage.
Right.
Because as you mentioned, Tom Steyer, that's a good, if you're a liberal, then that's a good billionaire for you to have, because he will help pay for your campaign to impeach President Trump.
Right.
If it's the other thing is the National Enquirer. I heard they might be running an op-ed next week to ban all billionaires as well. I think they want this business model is not working out for us anymore.
Yeah. Kat, final thoughts on this? You're a libertarian,
yes.
I believe.
I'm pro-billionaires.
Yes.
People who want to ban billionaires want to do so for the exact same reason that I want to ban women who can grow long, thick, beautiful hair.
Oh, come on!
Out of their own head.
Then what would you do when they cut it?
What do you mean?
Isn't their hair in your hair now?
Because of capitalism. Because of capitalism, we live in a country where we can have billionaires, and we can also buy and sell hair with each other, so I can have that hair strapped into my head.
Now, do you keep in touch with the person who gave you the hair?
No, this is all from a stranger.
Yes.
This is all from a stranger. I don't really know who it is, but I'm really grateful because people on Twitter are always like, Kat, your hair's so beautiful, and I'm like, gotcha. You know? But capitalism is a wonderful system, and I can only think of one problem with it.
What?
No matter how much money you make, you can never buy a pterodactyl.
Wow.
Because they're extinct, kids.
They are extinct. All right, up next, are the speech police coming after your Valentine's Day card? Maybe or maybe not. I haven't decided. Do not cross the line when sending a Valentine. That cheesy Hallmark card may get college kids in trouble. A free speech watchdog group is noting the sexual harassment policy at the University of New Orleans. The very broadly worded harassment policy includes, quote, sending suggestive or obscene letters, notes, or invitations. Technically, that could mean a cheesy store-bought Valentine card. Now, are you going to get kicked out of school for sending someone a card? No. But if you're doing a bunch of other weird things, the school could add that love note to your pile of offenses. So choose wisely. In other words, don't send overly suggestive cards like these ones. These are not good. I just want to tell you. All right? Here's one. You have stolen my heart, so I stole your dog. Now we are even, Doris. Happy Valentine's Day, my love. I've been living under your bed for 3 months. These are really terrible. Never send these out. Never send these out. Happy Valentine's Day. I've tried on all your underwear. Awful. These are the kinds of things. You should never send these things, America. You are so beautiful. Or now, anyway. Sadly, the inexorable process of aging affects all of us in a negative way. This one's very bad. You're the kind of girl I could take home to my mother. My mother's dead. I don't even know what that means. Maybe she's in a vase in the living room. All right, you brighten my day. You also make the voices stop. The voices that tell me to kill. These are terrible and very suggestive. Happy Valentine's Day. I got you flowers. Like us, they will die soon. Maybe that's one I should edit out. Anyway, this is my favorite. Roses are red, violets are blue. You will not ignore me. I have more, but you know what? I'll just stop there. Okay, I'll stop there. Those are suggestive cards, Dana, you should never get. Do you like Valentine's Day?
I don't really celebrate as an adult. I have been married for 20 years, but I loved it as a kid.
You did? As a kid? Oh, whoa. Don't applaud. I loved it as a kid. Look, as
They were applauding a 20-year marriage, Greg.
Don't applaud that either. No.
She loved Valentine's as a kid.
I'm speaking as in grade school as someone, Kat, who got so many cards. I felt bad for those who didn't. That's what I hated about it. I would have all my cards, and then everybody else.
I'm sorry, Kat. I know it's your time, but you expect us to believe that?
You'll have your chance.
Oh, kids, cover your ears. He's lying through his teeth.
Well, that's the entire point, right?
Right.
Like, these college students, most of whom are adults, should totally be able to handle receiving a card from someone that says, like, be mine on it with, like, a bee.
Yes.
Or whatever garbage that they're selling in the stores these days.
Mm-hmm.
Because first graders do it.
Yes.
First graders are able to handle receiving these cards. And I also got a big box of cards in the first grade.
Mm-hmm.
I think I peaked at 5, actually. I think I peaked at 5. But if they can handle it, then college students should be able to handle it. I was just fine. I have no resulting emotional trauma whatsoever from the Valentine's thing.
Yes, not from that anyway.
Not from that.
Yeah. Rob?
I think it's a very problematic holiday.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like it's problematic. Think about Cupid. You are involuntarily, without consent, violently penetrated by an underage erotic totem.
A cherub.
A cherub, whatever that is. Like, that can't be good. So I feel like they're probably, I understand that if you really think about it, you should probably banish all fun, but especially this fun.
It is too much fun, Tyrus.
Yeah, I mean, as a school teacher, like a kindergarten teacher, like, hey, Johnny, bring your little sexual harassing ass over here. What you doing? Handing out I love yous to all the girls? Go stand in the corner. Like, that's the world we live in now. And the reason why this is such a broad thing is because you don't know what is safe anymore.
Exactly.
So I kind of applaud the school as kind of a warning. Because if you send the wrong card to the wrong person on the wrong day, it could ruin your life. So it's got to be probably, because Valentine's Day is the scariest day if you're a dude without a date.
Yeah.
And if you gave the wrong woman a card, that's your ass. Like, like,
you know, I hate present-day Valentine's Day as an adult when you go to the restaurant and there are other couples that feel compelled, and it's very quiet. Whenever you go out on Valentine's Day at restaurants, there you see the couples, it's just so quiet because those are people that don't go out a lot. So they force themselves to go, and they aren't even fighting. They're like so quiet. At least if you have dinner at home, you can fight. No, you have to be like this. Happy Valentine's Day. I love you. It's not working. All right, don't forget that Gutfeld Monologues Live continues next month. The first show is sold out. Buy tickets. Oh, but tickets for shows in D.C., Detroit, Dallas, and other several cities still available. GGutfeld.com. That's where you go for ticket info. Final thoughts next.
Final thoughts. It's the last thought. That's why it's called the final thoughts, okay?
Got one, only one. Kat?
Just wanted to let everyone know that there is a special Valentine's Day episode of Tyrus and Timpf coming out on Valentine's Day. We talk about our worst Valentine's Days ever, and they're pretty bad, so you should check it out.
Yours is horrible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the time we got. Dana Perino, Rob Long, Katherine Timpf.